what up, y'all? Welcome to the In-Game Podcast. Yo, I'm Lynch Hunt. I got the homies with me. Where y'all at? Talk to them.
What's up? I'm Rod Brown.
I'm Jerome Myers.
Hey, we're doing something new today, as you can see. Check it out.
Yeah.
We virtual, we remote, we in our respective places, but guess what? We still here with you, y'all. So, yo, look, man, do me a favor, leave some comments, engage with us, let us know what's going on, get your questions up there, and we going in, man. Whenever we can, we're going to make sure that we get to you, too. Yo, what's going on with you fellas today, man? I see dope energy coming through the screen, coming through the vibes and the lines. What's going on?
What's that vibration?
Man?
What's that vibration? Where we at? What's the hertz right now?
Right now we're somewhere in between 500 and 700 right now. You know what I mean? We on expanded consciousness.
I can take it. I can deal with 500 to 700.
That's
rare air.
What's enlightenment? Isn't enlightenment like 950 or something? I'm trying to be on enlightenment, man.
That's where we at. That's where we get. That's where we at, baby. It's all about that enlightenment, baby.
Do you think like at 950 enlightenment, do you think that's exhausting? Do you think that would be like exhausting, or would it be more blissful if you function at that level all the time?
Oh, pure bliss. You'll be floating through everything. Yeah. It's all peace, man. Peace, be still. Things that used to be fast is moving in slow motion. You're like, oh, I see you. That's how you coming? Oh, I can curve that easy. Slow motion, baby. You're going to be floating on a cloud, baby.
Neo in the Matrix. Is that like the zone? Is that like the zone?
Word.
You know how when people talk about
it's the zone, man. It's just
slows down.
Word, everything slow down, and you hitting on every cylinder, man. You can't miss. You know what I'm saying? You can't miss with something moving that slow. You know what I'm talking about?
That's what's up.
What's going on, Jerome?
How's everybody's week?
So, man, listen, I'm on 700 to 900, and I'm floating in and out of consciousness with this stuff because the Vericrip event, man, just I want to say it was like a revival, man. I'm talking about I've been rejuvenated, I've been re-energized, and us doing that Vericrip event, man, it put a whole nother battery, a whole nother energy, a whole nother spirit, in my back, man, in my heart, in my soul. And I'm just ready to move full steam ahead with whatever it is we got to do to connect with the, with the people, man. Cause I'm telling you, man, let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you. I've been doing, I've been having this reoccurring theme where I've been given this one particular lecture for since COVID. It's been a version of a lecture because people's mindsets or people's mental health, has definitely been in question since, the pandemic and our shut in, shut down, lockdown, lock in. And a lot of people, could not handle the fact that, they were not free to go to and fro. And, who better to, give a talk or to give help with, something like this than Mr. President of Prosperity, which is me, right? So anyway, I've been toying around with the tools that we've been having to kind of impart on people, and I've been tweaking it and going in different settings. And I've been for HR for the city of Greensboro to set off, a couple quarters of their year. And just the HR department, I've literally done mindset resets for just the 30 HR heads of the HR departments so that they could then trickle down, and pass down those different mindsets to the rest of the 3,000 employees and things like that. So anyway, a version of this had, I like to ramble and talk when I get in front of the crowd, and y'all gave me the mic, to kind of set the tone and things like that. And, one particular part, we had to kind of dive into some of this material again. And I'm only saying this to say it set me on so much of a high that I literally wrote a book in 2.25 days to go along with this lecture. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited that you guys.
What's the title, man? You holding out? What's the title of the book?
Man, the title of the book is Mastering the Mindset for Resilience and Peak Performance, man. And I just think resiliency is something that we all need to be equipped with as the stresses of life come to attack us inevitably. Like, what I'm saying? Like, ain't no way around it. The stresses of life are going to be present in everybody's life, but the way you deal with them will determine, your quality of life. And, if you get a chance to increase that quality, or if those stresses, kind of take over and come for you, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just all about cultivating the mindset to be mentally tough and to be resilient and to operate at peak performance, so you can transcend, kind of where you are or where you've been, or, that identity. This is just some pretty dope stuff, man. But, you guys inspire me. People having, Jerome's had a near-death experience, not to mention a whole bunch of other things, financial ruin, during that time. Rod has had, he's been bankrupt, and, these things, inspire me, and you guys inspire me on a daily basis, because, now, you have this freedom, in multiple aspects of your life, that it just inspires me to reverse engineer those experiences and make sure that, the people can relate to them, and carry some of those, those practices that you tapped into. So, I appreciate y'all sharing your journey with us, so that we can kind of go through, whatever it is we're going through, in a better light, because, you guys went through your darkness and now are shining lights. So we appreciate that. And we appreciate y'all, man. And thank you for the inspiration and empowerment. I truly appreciate y'all, man.
Man, that's an honor to hear coming from you, because I know it takes a pretty high standard for you to be inspired or to be grateful to be hanging out with folks. I watch how you interact with people in the gym, outside of the gym, and you read people pretty quickly, and you assess whether or not they are who they say they are, or if they're just wearing a mask and pretending to be something that they're not. And I think that's the beauty of what we created with Veracrypt, is the people are who they are. We don't have to pretend to be bigger than we are, because we are who we are. And because of who we are as a collective, we improve, we inspire, we grow each other. The event for me was something that I've been waiting for a long time. When I shut down the powwow at the Mountaintop Mastermind back in the summer, I realized that one of the things that was really missing from my life was that quarterly intentional review. And so to be able to hang out with gentlemen like you and the other folks who attended the event, it did something for me from a recharging standpoint. When I walked away, I knew deep down in my spirit that is what we were supposed to be doing. And when I started thinking about the people who were like, yeah, I want to continue the journey. I want to be a member. I don't just want to come to an event, but I want to be a member of Veracrypt. I was like, man, what just was an idea about creating a space for people to go down and do the work and the research to find their hidden potential, and then bring that to the light so that they could share it with the world. And just with some tweaks, right? We're not trying to wholesale change anything for most people. We're just trying to tweak to help them get that optimal output. It's a game changer. And I mean, everybody had different styles, different paces. The energy was high for everybody, even though it came out in different ways. And just to see the folks smile at the end and feel like the investment was a multiple return for them, it just really gives me energy. Yeah, immediately. Like, they didn't have to go away and do anything. It was like in that room, they were making decisions that were going to create a different experience for them. And the question I love to ask people is, what do you want to be different on December 31st of 2024? Because if you keep doing what you did in 2023, it's going to be the exact same outcome. We are helping people deprogram and reprogram. And it wasn't just the people in the room. I dropped a screenshot in the chat with you two, and I took the values exercise that we did, and we're not going to give them all the details of the exercise, right? But I took the values exercise, and I took that picture, one of the pictures from your presentation. I gave it to my 14-year-old daughter, and I said, hey, we did this exercise. I want you to do the same exercise and tell me what your values are. And so she went through and was like, yeah, these are my top 3. I said, okay, what is the one that's most important? And then in the same day, she said, Daddy, you guess what? I was like, I always say chicken butt because I got to give her the dad joke. And she's like, no, I got all A+ on my report card. And it's because my core value of always doing my best allowed me to outperform the rest of my classmates and get the highest grades in most of my classes. So like, it's not just for me. It's not just for the people in the room. Like, we can take this stuff and impact our families and our little ones as they're coming through and figuring stuff out. And they don't need the exact same experience that we had. But if we can give them these tidbits, we're creating an experience that they'll. And the funny part about that thing is she's in a leadership class. She's been in a leadership class since August or September, and they've never had a conversation about values. How can you be a leader with no values?
Well, you know what? I know I got to give Rod here. He hasn't really said anything real quick. I'll come back to my point, you know what I mean? Because I got that. But one thing that both of y'all said to me when we were talking, when we were done, is that we didn't have to wait for anybody to buy anything or something like that, you know, anything like that. Both of you guys said the same thing. We had separate conversations, but both of you said we have something special. And that right there was music to my soul, y'all. So go ahead, Rob, man, jump in there, man, because I know what I want to.
I can't add much more to what you guys have already said. I can just tell you about an experience that I had looking back and just kind of, processing what took place over those 2 days. The natural, I believe, response for human beings is to be skeptical, right? And so let's say an empty cup is skepticism. And what really blessed me and confirmed that I was where I was supposed to be, talking about the things I should have been talking about, being in the room with the people that I should have been in the room with, was over those 2 days, that empty cup of skepticism I saw filled with like hope, and it was literally like a gradual increase, a gradual feeling of hope. And by the time we were done, it was just like, okay, like what's next? Not let's leave, right? Not let's get kicked out by the hotel because your time is up, but like what's next? And the evidence of what's next is, like Jerome said, people like immediately said, I want to be a member, right? I want to do life with these people in this room. And then whoever is brave enough to be a part of, the next group, and then the next group and the next group. So for me, that was like super, super rewarding. You talk about, having practical application of the things we talked about in that room. Someone sent me a message saying, hey, I just finished my 3-day water fast and I'm down 10 pounds. This has never happened to me. I never thought I could go 3 days without eating food. But where you have intention and you have energy, anything is possible. And so, and we just, I believe we continue just to get like testimonies like that. And it was literally, just 2 days of just this intention and energy and power. And, we got results, period. So I can't add much more than what you guys have already talked about.
So when you were talking about the skepticism, was the skepticism from somebody that was sitting in the room, or did you walk into the room with skepticism?
Yeah. Oh no, skepticism of somebody in the room. Yeah, skepticism. Kind of like when you first start the sales process of buying a new car, your arms are folded, and you're like, okay, what? Go ahead and sell me. Try to sell me. And the reality is there wasn't a sales pitch. Like Chris Rock says, man, Chris Rock says, you don't have to sell drugs. You just offer drugs, right? And we didn't have to sell anything. It was just, here's the offer. Here is, first of all, here's the evidence. Here are the results. Let me give you a hint on how we got to this place. And oh, by the way, this could be you too if you just dedicate yourself to doing certain things. If you dedicate yourself to being part of a community where people are intentional about going to the next level and the next level and the next level, then this could happen to you too. And again, just showing evidence and just pouring into people without any intent of getting something back, right? It was just incredible. And yeah, the skepticism, slowly but surely, the arms, came unfolded, the questions started flowing. And then by the end, it was like, this can't be done. We can't be over. There has to be more. And we're like, yeah, there is more. So yeah. No, I wasn't skeptical at all. I was hopeful, and I came actually expecting to receive something from you guys, and I did. I received something from both of you.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was engaged in taking notes with both of your presentations whenever you presented, because you didn't just present one time. So I definitely enjoy being a participant or being present just as much as I do as being a presenter. I definitely don't take being in the space for granted, even with a position. Does that make sense? And I always, I've only ever received my position by the way that I live my life. And that's because I've been the example. So in order for, I believe, to get other people to do, what is needed to be done, I'm usually, an example of that energy, or that, or practitioner of, what we're supposed to be doing. And then that gets other people, that energy is then transferred to other people, and then they, start to do things themselves. So, it's pretty dope to hang out with you guys. To go back to what I was going to say, when Jerome was talking before we had to get Rod in there, what we have is different because we move different, we teach different, we're a little bit different, where we kind of understand the information that we're getting, and then use the information in a practical setting. Everything we do is, is principle based, and is from law. So, law principles govern laws, and laws govern the universe. So when we started with, the value stuff, we had to get people, value centered, so that, whatever they're chasing from there, it can be in alignment with, that magnet, that core value, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So giving that to us as, older individuals, or people who, just grown-ups, we go through periods of life where we think we have values and we think we know our values, but they are just like unspoken truths. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're things that we may just be going off of because grandmama instilled them in our mothers or fathers, and we'd never defined these values for on our own terms and things like that. And that's why it was very profound for you to give that and your daughter received that such early on, because I had to go through 30 years, 35 years before
you got exposed.
Before I finally get to my 60 third book that that's a reference that if I never even got to the end of the book, to the part where they reference other books, and then get somebody to actually send me that book, so it just takes a lot to kind of get to this information. And that's what Veracrypt is all about. It's about digging and finding that hidden potential and that hidden information, or that hidden key that unlocks the doors to infinity and beyond, man. Some Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear. Okay.
Yeah.
Quoting Buzz. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Thanos quote, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's all, it's all universal though, man. You know what I mean? It's universal. So that's why we can give it to people older than us and they can relate it. We can give it to people younger than us and they can relate to it. And it has nothing to do with the so-called institutions that have been validated by the masses. That's why you'll always hear me say like, yo, man, fuck them. Or, you know what I mean? Or this, that, and the third is because I know when we got some universal shit popping off, like them cats ain't coming. They're not coming from that base. They don't even have the lived experience to put two and two together to say that it's from one. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you take some stuff and you split it down and you keep looking at it under a microscope to the finest particle and finest atom, you will see that it all comes from one or none. It's going to come from no thing, which is going to be one thing. Like, you know what I mean? And people don't get it. And they're looking at things and they're thinking things are different. And that's why the way we do things is we connect with people, from the very beginning, because we are all one. And if we don't show people that, who we are, or who we are authentically, so here's what came to me earlier, right? And shit just it pops in my spirit where I have to do a presentation to some community stakeholders coming up in a few weeks in February, mid-February. I think it's February 15th, and it's for the sheriff's department, right? And I basically are going to have to teach some of these people like how we do the work that we do in the community. And it is so dope because, well, I'm about to give you all the game as well right now, because when you know who you are, right, then you know who we are. Mm-hmm. Because, he is I and I am him. And I only move or teach from who I am, which comes from who I was. And now I am the person who I never had when I was the little him. So I'm present now in these gaps, in these spaces in the community to be him, in which I didn't have when I was him. And because I've done the reverse engineer, I know this is a lot, but because I've reverse engineered who I am based off of where I've come from and who I was, I now can understand what he and we need to be better. Does that make sense?
1,000%. Become the person that you were looking for when you were young, right? And then give that person to the world. Because what you tell me? You told me during Verica, a better me. What is
everybody benefits from a better me?
There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
So you have to know who you were, right? To know what he in turn needs, because he is you, but he's out there now. So he's in another house being raised by his grandparents, right? And now, since you know who he is, you know what he needs. And you should have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to him, because you have now become him. And because you know who you are, right? Come on, y'all. We talking now. This shit right here got to go viral. But because people can't be their authentic selves, because they don't know who they are at the core, because they don't know who they were or where they come from, because they're trying to hide those days. They're trying to bury those days. They're trying to forget those days. They can no longer stand in the gap today in these ways, you know what I mean? In which we do. And then they look at me and they say, I'm a hero. They look at me and say, I wish I could do that. But you could do that if you just presented you in that gap.
So many people are walking around with masks on, man.
Yeah.
They're pretending.
Exactly.
They want to do something else.
Man, we were talking about values. I think values also is like Mike Tyson talking about, how everyone has a plan. Everyone has a fight plan until they get punched in the face. I think the values are similar, right? Everybody says, I have these values, and they say who they are and what they believe in and how they want to operate until that value is challenged, right? Until a significant event happens that challenges the value, and then the question is the value really the value? So that's why I say, man, I don't like fooling with people who ain't been through nothing. You ain't been through nothing. I'm good. I need somebody that's going, hey, if I'm about to run away, I need, you with me or not? The real ride or die. So yeah, I don't like.
I
fooling
thought
So
with
that
why
was
does
really
it matter if
profound
they've
when you
been
said
through
that,
something?
Devin.
Say again, why does it matter what?
If they've been through something,
They got calluses, right?
the,
So
the hardening
there's
of
a
soft tissue.
absolutely, and there's differences. You got a handful of calluses, L. Um, the been through something. Like, what's the something? What's the level of the something? What's the complexity of the something? There are levels to it, and so let's say you have to deal with a $10,000 something, and no one's ever dealt with a $10,000 something, and then you got a whole tribe of people around you who's never dealt with a $10,000 something, and then accidentally or intentionally you find yourself in a situation where you got $1 million something. That's gonna scare away everybody who's never been beyond a $10,000 something. So that's why I want to be able to say that, I've been through some things, and I rock with people that have been through some things, especially if we say we're going to live life together, right? We don't want to get to a point where life becomes hella tough and we run away, right? And you look around, it's like, where is everybody? Right. So yeah, that's
Why nobody doing these burpees with me, man? Why I'm the only one doing the burpees?
right. I'm the only
I
one.
think it was
I ain't say I'm the one doing the burpees, huh?
was it Seneca? I think adversity introduces a man to himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, people that been through stuff, we know what we gonna get from somebody that's been in the trenches. You know what I mean? That's somebody that done stood the test of time, or somebody that done been through the struggle or been through the mud. We kind of know that this dude ain't no stranger to the mud. This dude ain't no stranger to the struggle. You know what I'm saying? And I know if I need anybody fighting with me right now in the trenches, it's gonna be the guy that I know done came out the mud. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who I want in the bunker with me. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's some pretty dope stuff, man. And considering
now go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know who you can call at 3 a.m. and say, meet me here. Ain't gonna be no whole lot of questions. Ain't gonna be, you should be like, where? What is this about? How long we gonna be gone?
It don't matter.
Should I drive? Should I catch an Uber? No. If you got certain people you can call at 3 a.m. and say, meet me here, and they're like, okay, I'm on my way, and I'll deal with whatever it is we got to deal with at 3 a.m. But no question,
I remember when
ask them 50 questions.
Yeah, I remember when the gym flooded, and you pulled up with a shop vac that your daughter. I don't know if we can say that. You pulled up with a shop vac.
I returned it to good pieces.
Yeah, but you pulled up, right? And that, I think, is a demonstration of that. Because for all intents and purposes, you could have shrugged your shoulders and said, all right, well, I guess it's going to be closed tomorrow, or if it's not closed, I'll show up for my workout. And it's just a different level of relationship. And I think so many people out here, specifically guys, they're lonely. You don't even think to call somebody else, and maybe they don't want to be a burden, or maybe they feel like they should figure it out on their own. I don't know what the answer is, but when you do life together, you're connected, you're in a society, you're in a network. I think it just gives you an opportunity to do things at a different level, because a phone call or two can solve problems that you probably would have spent days, weeks, months trying to figure out. And that, for me, that efficiency, one of my top values is efficiency. That efficiency is something that I value over pretty much anything else except for gratitude.
Yeah. That's dope, because those values, they're like magnets, and they just attract other things or other people that are on the same, frequency as efficiency or as hard work or that, what I'm saying? Like so your daughter is going to attract, more people that are on, that are centered in that type of value or those type of values. So it's pretty dope that, the way we're doing life together, because it's about, we said when we came on, we were 700, 900. We said it was, expanded consciousness and things like that. So we understand that, a lot of those people that we're not going to call at 3 o'clock, we have a transactional type of interaction. So we go from transactional to relational to transformational. And, the whole thing is when we can transcend transactions to relations and then transcend relations to, transformations, then, we know we have, friends for life. We have family. We have, we have people that we're going to be inseparable and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And we're always be connected through, the spirits and things like that. But we're always going to be, one call away or right there with each other in alignment with a lot of different types of stuff. And that's what, the way we build our communities and sub communities are all about now. And, I don't know who's out there and, taking notes, and a lot of people, they want followers. They want, to get their numbers up on these different platforms and things like that. But a lot of people are not versed in building community. And this is one thing that is going to set us apart from everybody else. I've been building communities for, quite some time now. I had 24 people on that newspaper with me, I put up in front of those people, doing the lecture. That's community. You know what I'm saying? I've been leading things for quite some time now. You know what I'm saying? We come home and we build these gyms, but they're not gyms. They have, the community leaders inside of them, and people are pledging allegiance to, to a way of life. You know what I'm saying? And it's different when you have something that people stand for and live by, as opposed to just being a part of. When you're part of something that's bigger and greater than you, then that your part is a sum of the whole, and that they need you. You know what I mean? Your part is needed. No matter how big or small you may think it is, that part is very important. So, we let people, first we get people to, we help them find out what that part is. And then when they're figured out what that part is, they will make sure that they deliver the water the best, that they deliver the water the fastest, that they are Bobby Boucher with the motherfucking water. You know what I'm talking about?
And I'll, first of all, Jerome, thanks for the book, man, that you shared about Tom. And I'll just leave it at that for now. It actually speaks to why people don't become parts of communities, because the community has some built-in mechanisms that just rub people the wrong way. Accountability is, and people don't like accountability because accountability requires vulnerability, openness. And so people don't want to be open. They don't want to share, especially the things that they're not successful at, the things that they're struggling with. And so people oftentimes just kind of, shield themselves away from communities because they don't want accountability. They don't want responsibility. They don't, you walk into the gym at 5 a.m. And certain people aren't there. I ain't calling no names, but the leader might say, "Yo, everybody text that person individually and say, where are you? What's going on?" And so, that's accountability, that's responsibility, and a lot of people don't want to deal with that. They say they want better, and they say they want to be a better version of themselves, but a requirement is accountability. A requirement is resilience. You talk about resilience. I don't know of any successful person, and I'm not talking about just them having a bunch of money. I'm talking about them being leaders in their vocations, leaders in their communities. I don't know a single successful person that is not resilient. I don't know a single successful person that doesn't have grit, that had to fight their way through a tough situation. or a tough period of time in their lives, or to, you know, bounce back per se, or to hit rock bottom to come back. I don't know a single person. And so resilience is so important. And why not become resilient with a tribe of people, right? Versus trying to go do it yourself, or do it by yourself.
The likelihood of getting through it by yourself is small. I heard a wise man say accountability increases activity by 80%, something like that. And I remember when I was struggling with the nutrition 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever it was, and being in a group where people are actually accountable with what they're eating was the game changer for me. It helped me get my sugar addiction under control. It helped me walk past the cookies in the lounge in the airport. It helped me stop going to Cold Stones and Rocky Mountain chocolate factories so that I could get the thing that was 11 and 1,200 calories on top of whatever food I ate on that given day. And when I got that under control, the pounds started falling off. Now, could I have tried to willpower it myself? Could I have just tried motivation? I did that for years. But that was the thing that being in a room of accountability was the thing that led to the result and the outcome. And then once you become that person that you aspire to be through the support of other people in the community, then maybe you can just go back out into the environment and be outside of the accountability. But I know for a fact that it was a game changer for me. And when I think about the biggest changes that I've made, it's always been in a group where I didn't feel like I was at the head of the pack, but I wanted to be on the level of the other people in the room that were inspiring me. And so I started doing the things that I saw them doing so that I would become the person that I needed to be so that I could have the stuff that I said I wanted to have. You know, the conversation about wanting something is one that grows tiresome when a person doesn't actually do the stuff that they need to do. And doing something could be giving stuff up, right? What are you willing to give up to get what you want?
Yeah,
absolutely. That's dope stuff, man. I think one of the main things, and we touch on this a lot in our teachers and stuff like that, I just think one of the main things is people don't know how to, you know, work around their mood or their attitude. And that attitude or that mood actually determines, you know, kind of what you're going to do or how well you're going to do something. And if people haven't made up their mind to actually, oh, well, I'm going to do this today, or I'm going to wake up early today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not that's not even a negotiation for us if we're going to wake up early today. Like, that is that's the norm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that is the norm. 5 is
I slept in the day. You know, it was 5 o'clock. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. And, you know, we just have a different focus, and you know, our focus is actually just going to determine what we put that energy into. You know what I'm saying? And people are just focused on the wrong thing, and I literally just try to kind of shake them, wake them, and make them get focused on certain stuff. And I just be doing that shit in the gym. Like today, I just kept saying kill. I just kept saying, like, you know what I mean? I just didn't give a fuck what they were saying. Like, yeah, I just was the whole 30 minutes. I was just saying, what a lion do when you get up? That was the whole word. It was just kill, bro. I just went in on 3 days.
All lions, no sheep.
Catch up. Yeah, man, shit. Yeah. They was a church going, not hearing nobody curse or nothing. They was upset with me because I'm telling you, I was upset with you. Killed it. Anybody that just don't like certain words. I used all.
They don't know how to tap into that dark energy, man. That dark energy is the thing that'll get you through those tough spots. Sometimes you just got to channel it. Sometimes you got to tap into it and pull that out. And I watch so many people just like, oh yeah, it's airy fairy. No, it gets bleak sometimes. Sometimes it's just got to go totally black. And I mean, you think about it, like today, man, we had burpees in front of box jumps, right? We had burpees in front of box jumps.
Burpees in front.
And some cardio at the top. So if you didn't have a mindset, and if you didn't have a mindset that you were going to eat both of those, then you were going to take off on one of them. By the way, the gym was immaculate today. I don't know who came in and cleaned that thing, but that thing, I felt like I could eat off the floor in there this morning, man.
Nah, that was the condensation because it was so it was 60 degrees outside, but it was 40 in the gym, and then the mats and the walls produce
cleaned it up.
Yeah. So
had
it
everything
looked like somebody mopped and shit. Yeah. It looked like somebody mopped. It wasn't ashy, but So by the time 9 o'clock came around, it was everything was wet. We had to do the workout like on the turf area. So it was tough. It's just some stuff we go through there with it's the trenches, man. It's the trenches. We train in the trenches, man. You know what I mean?
So let me tell you a real story. Let me tell you a real story. Okay. So I knew that I wasn't coming at 5 a.m. this morning, right? And I have my reasons, but I don't know. I might need to say my reasons now because I might not get cussed out publicly, or called the slug publicly. But so I have my reasons. I still got work in, right? And so I woke up with an attitude because I knew I wasn't gonna come in, and again I had my reasons for not coming in. The first thing that when I put my watch on to go get my work in on the bike, I get a notification, and it's Lynch Hunt just finished the workout, and it's like I don't know, it's like might have been close to 350 something, I think, and out loud I said, "Of course he did." I got a little attitude. I'm like, "Of course he did." I'm talking to the watch. Lynch Hunt just finished the workout at 4 a.m. Yeah, of course he did. So I went and climbed the steps and got on my bike and did my thing. That didn't include burn box jumps, but yeah.
And that goes to our point of accountability. Because I've accepted your watch sharing. Now you get a chance to see what I do. I get a chance to see what you do, and that proximity now makes you, or that accountability makes you 80% more active. So whether you get up at 3 or 4 or 5, you've already seen that someone that you're connected to has done the work that you would normally do together. And from there, the mindset now is, I don't want to be the one that doesn't do the work. I don't want to be the one that doesn't keep my link tight, because I know that if there's a weak link, it could make the whole link weak. Does that make sense? And I think that that's the dope part about it. I mean, I'm not. You sent the video this morning of Colorado working out.
Yeah.
I didn't really get a chance to check it out. I was trying to finish up.
Really, you could have just stopped at you could have stopped at the Marines, the Marine that was speaking. It was really more so for just the message that he was giving, because it was almost identical to some of the things we were saying in the very crypt live session.
Crazy, right? So I didn't actually watch it, but my guy sent the clip on IG. So the IG clip was, it was a summary of that. It was just highlights of their workout from the you sent the whole video. And then the clip that they showed a multitude of exercises that they did with the Marines. And it was pretty dope for me because it kind of sent me back to prison, 12 years ago. And we were doing all those exercises. So my guy sent it to me because he literally was like, yo, that's what we was doing on the yard. So it was some pretty dope stuff. Just to be reminded that, when you're in what you actually do in the trenches will mold and shape you for, some more, some future, trenches. You understand what I'm saying? So those things, kind of let you know that, you trained to go. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to Colorado for, being different, training different, bringing different things to those young men. Understanding that, that is also principle based, and it's not just about football. you're going to war, you're going to battle. Is kill or be killed. People have the same dream as you. People want your dream to stop so theirs can continue. And if you don't have that alpha mindset when you're out there, that you won't stop until you're the last one standing, then it's going to be hard for you to move on to the next level. And I know all the guys that are playing Division I football, they probably all have the dream to move on to a professional some type of professional play. So you got to cultivate that mentality. That's some stuff right there, man. And I'm trying to give things like that to everyday people, and I think that's where my struggle lies at a lot. I know we gotta get ready to go, man. I'll ramble all day long, man. But shout out to y'all for putting up with or subscribing to. I would like to even say subscribe to some, very unorthodox, next level, out of the box type of community. You know what I'm saying? and people rock with me and don't rock with me because of the same reason, and that's that accountability piece that we talked about. If you're willing to be held accountable, then you're ready to go to the moon, and if you're not, then you're ready to you're ready to fall back.
Live a life of mediocrity. That's what I call it. A life of mediocrity.
I hate that word.
What's interesting too, real quick, about what we did with that the live session of Vericrypt. What do you call it, L? And you talked about it when you say, I'm going to buy a car, and then
your reticular activating system, for sure. It's the RAS, reticular activating system.
So that kicked in for me when it came to other communities and people that are a part of other communities, and seeing how they operate and seeing a different standard in those individuals. And so I kept seeing it everywhere. Jerome gave me a book, gave us a book to read, and I'm about 75% done with that. And it's all throughout the book. I saw friends and just other individuals that, I look up to or aspire to be. And it's like, man, that's a key ingredient in their life. They're not doing life by themselves. They are part of a tribe. And so I never saw it as intently before, but I see it now. And I'm like, I might have been hustling backwards. And so, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm saying all that to say I'm grateful.
Gratitude. What frequency is gratitude?
540. It's somewhere around there. It's somewhere between
5 and 700, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And we gotta go, man. This one went quick.
It did.
Hey, man, time fly. We having fun, man.
Hey, yo, I just want to tell everybody I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to spend time. I'm sitting in a meeting today, y'all. And they're like, hey, Rod, I've seen your podcast. Somebody who I would never, ever guess that they would look at our podcast. They don't look like us. They don't talk like us. They don't have the backgrounds that we have. But they're like, yeah, and I really like this, and I like this, and when you remember when y'all talked about, I'm like, wow, okay. And so again, grateful, man. So thank you for tuning into the podcast. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your feedback and your comments that you share. Thank you for telling 10 people about the podcast. We appreciate that, man. And the cool thing is, there's this principle called the Pareto principle that simply says that 20% of anything is going to give you 80% of the results. And I just need 20% of you guys to tell 10 people. I don't need all 100% of you guys. We just need 20% of you guys to tell 10 people, and we'll be okay. So thank you. And with that, man, I believe we're out. I'm Rod Brown.
I'm Jerome Myers. Hey, man, this is an in-game podcast sponsored by Vericrypt.
Ooh, I like how that sound, baby.
Love it. Yo, y'all have a great day.
Peace.